Frag Attack Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, baby, for another episode of Frag Tag Radio. And here with you today are your boys, Pradius
and Jay to the Ray, baby.
That's right. All right, so a special edition episode today. Not even going to do any plugs today. We're just going to jump right into it.
No Stitcher Radio plugs.
No Stitcher Radio, no Xbox
No
News.
Xbox News plugs.
We ain't even going to plug the Twitter. We're just going to hop right into it.
So you ain't going to tell people to hit us up on Twitter?
Nope, I ain't even going to do it.
All right. What about that podcast app?
We'll let them know. Next episode coming this weekend. All right, so this past week, of course, everyone pretty much knows, unless you've been sleeping under a rock, that Sony, sort of unveiled the PlayStation 4 without showing it itself.
Yeah, it's a funny story about that, too. Apparently there was some people pissed off about it, and they interviewed the vice president of Sony, and he seemed like he was pretty pissed off about all the people that have been giving him shit about it, because he was like, he went on a huge rant. It was like, it doesn't matter if the box is just yellow, purple, green, and blue all together. It's just a box. What matters is what it does. He was flipping out. I was like, dang on. He must be tired of hearing that. People must have been getting on him for a while about that.
Yeah, probably so. Oh, that's Kraz Harai or whatever. Is that Chinese dude? Japanese dude?
Yeah, there's a bunch of Chinese guys involved. You know, I can't even keep up with them all. Hashimoto is the only one that I really... Yashihito, and there's like a bunch of Ashiusis.
Probably about 30 Kims.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Japanese people that are all involved with it. But, yeah, I guess what I can
first is the pros.
Well, before we do the pros, let's kind of go through the bullet points and kind of let everybody know what they unveiled and stuff.
Well, that would be the pros.
Well, some of them I don't think were pros. Anyway, we could kind of do both. Say, streaming games while they download. I thought definitely an interesting concept. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, and that's kind of Steam related.
Well, PC games have been doing that for a while.
Yeah, but we haven't seen it on console games, so I guess it's kind of something that we kind of expected to see, I guess. Try games without downloading them. So they were basically showed how you can go to the store, you see a game you like, and you can just hit try, and it'll take you right to the game. That I thought was pretty cool, because how many times do we see games, and hard drive space is very limited for people like us. So
yeah.
I thought that was a pretty cool concept. Suspend exactly at the point, and then bring it back. Like we were talking about this in the car. You can just basically suspend the console right where you're playing, and then come back hours later without leaving your console running to pick up right in the point of the game where you left off. We'll still save, because I don't know if I trust the system to...
Yeah.
But...
Plus, you never know what could happen with the power or anything while you're away.
They said the main reason they wanted to do that is because they said that there's a lot of things that can happen between having the impulse to play the game and actually playing the game. And they want it to when you have an impulse to play the game, to be able to play it right away. So...
Yeah, well, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah. Facebook will be integrated directly into the profile. So when you're looking at people's profiles, you'll see their actual picture from Facebook, their actual name. So it'll have, like, if, for instance, I go on there and I see Pradius, it'll say Jeff Stoddard, and have your picture and stuff. Don't know if I like that or not.
Yeah.
But... I guess it could be cool how you can post on Facebook and everything right from there.
As long as they have an option to remain anonymous if you want to, that's not a big deal.
Yeah, I hope they do, because some people I can see just don't want their personal lives thrown out there over an Xbox Live game or a PlayStation game.
Well, and then especially with kids, parents got their kids on the console. They don't want their kids' personal information out there for possible predators or whatever.
That's absolutely correct. I can definitely. So hopefully they'll have an option where you can turn that off, which I'm sure they will, because what would they do with people that aren't Facebook members?
Yeah.
Share button on the controller to instantly share or broadcast your play sessions. There was a couple things you could do with the share button. You could press the share button, and it would basically, you could go back and put video straight to YouTube or Ustream or whatever right away, or you could just broadcast your game. I thought personally this was the coolest part. Or one of the coolest
especially
things
for us as podcasters.
Yes, we absolutely.
Broadcast our gaming sessions when new games come out.
Heck yeah. And I thought, like, one of the things they mentioned is if you were playing a game and you were sharing it, I could, through the camera, I could watch you playing it in the small screen, but also watch what you're playing on the big screen.
Picture-in-picture, yeah.
Yeah, and supposedly I could just jump in and help you out with the game, even if I don't own the game.
Yeah, well, that's something we're going to have to wait and see exactly how that works.
Because what's to stop you from getting the game, me not buying it, and then you streaming it, and me getting on from the very start of the game and playing through it with you?
Just play this whole game for me.
Yeah. Well, I think instead of being more of a co-op thing, I think it was like you take over the controller for a second.
Right. So you would still be getting achievements or trophies, as it were, from me.
Yeah.
And not yourself.
Yeah. That I can see that. That makes more sense now. We talked about watching other people play the games. What about the DualShock 4? Touchpad on it, similar to the back of the Vita.
The touchpad, I could really care less about.
Me too.
But I will say that the form factor of the controller looks a lot better now.
They went more Xbox-ish with it.
Yeah. The form factor of the controller. The triggers still don't look as good as Xbox, but they look better than they did.
My biggest gripe, I have things I like about the PlayStation controller and things I like about the Xbox controller. My biggest thing about the PlayStation controller is the L2 and R2 suck.
Yeah.
They suck. And they finally went more Xbox-ish. But you can definitely see it's still not curved.
Right.
Like the Xbox controllers. The thing that I've always liked about the PlayStation controller is the left and right sticks are side by side as opposed to up above the D-pad. I've always liked the fact that they're side by side and the D-pad's up. Kind of like flip-flopped on Xbox.
Well, I'm kind of opposite like that. I like the joysticks where they are on the Xbox, but I like the D-pad on the DualShock better.
Well, yeah, I just something to me about having the sticks right next to each other when you're playing like a first-person shooter. I've always thought that felt more comfortable, but I guess to each his own on that part. But they kept the same form, but the sticks are convex now instead of concave. Or concave, not convex.
Right.
So I didn't like that about Sony because your thumb slipped off the pads a lot.
Right.
Now they made it's not completely convex like or concave like Xbox's is, but it's almost like wavy. I think they definitely realized that people like that better about the Xbox controllers. But anyway, moving on. We'll get to know you and download games before you buy them over time.
I also hope the new joysticks are a little bit tighter and not as loose as they were on the PS3's DualShock.
They were pretty loose compared to the Xboxes. I can definitely relate to that. But the system will get to know you and will download games before you buy them based on what you've downloaded before.
Now that would be something that would have to do with your purchase history.
Yeah, I would think so.
And then also supposedly it's going to have to do with the camera, the new PSI or whatever they're calling it. Watching you while you're playing. So I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah,
but hopefully that would be something you could turn off.
This is my problem with that. When hard drive space is such a priceless commodity right now. Is it going to download stuff and eat up my hard drive when I don't even have no intention of downloading something? I mean, hopefully it'll be smart and know, or it'll probably be an option you can turn off too as well.
Yeah.
But friends can provide help and comments if wanted, right on the screen of your game. Of course, it comes with a headset too, and there's now in the controller there's also now a jack for your Xbox, just like Xbox.
Well, speaking of hard drive space, I think with both PS4 and Xbox 720 that hard drives need to be in terabytes this gen.
Absolutely.
And not gigs.
Absolutely. Because, I think we're getting past the point of gigs.
Yeah.
Because you can give me a 500 gigabyte hard drive and I'll eat it up in a day.
Yeah, and I mean, a retail game, you want to install it. That's 5 to 7 to 8 gigs right there.
Hell yeah.
And then games from the new generation are going to be even larger than that.
Even larger. And you know what's interesting about that? Is that they're talking about that from now on, day one at midnight, the new games will be available digitally as well as disc. Well, like you just said, if games are that big, and a lot of people are going to start buying them digitally, if that's the case, they're not going to be able to have so many games unless they have a terabyte hard drive.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to. Couple more things here, and then we'll go on to what we really liked about it and whatnot. But Gaikai in the Ustream partnership with it, the Gaikai is
that's not even a partnership. They own them now.
They own them. Yeah, well, Ustream's partnership. Gaikai's not. Gaikai, in case you don't know, Sony bought them for $360 million when they were in the red.
Yeah.
They didn't have money, and they spent $360 million on this company. That's how serious they wanted to acquire them. And supposedly there was 6 major companies, Microsoft, Apple, a bunch of companies that wanted to buy them, and they had to fork out a crap load to
Right.
get it. So how they integrate it will be interesting. What they're talking about doing is having every PS1, PS2, and PS3 game available for stream, just like on live,
Right.
I guess, available. And I thought that'd be pretty cool as long as they do it right and early in the console life, they have them available. You
Right.
know what I mean? And they say it'll be a subscription charge probably. But that leads us into the next is no backwards compatibility
Right.
at all.
Right.
Not even for arcade games.
Yeah, which retail disc we were talking about, you could have expected that because of the cell architecture versus the new more PC like chip they're putting in the PlayStation 4. But the arcade titles are the PlayStation Network titles. Yeah. I would have thought those we would have been
absolutely, and I would be shocked, and we'll talk about this more when we get to the Xbox section. I would be shocked if Xbox does that.
Yeah,
shocked because
I will be upset.
I would too. I would be very upset. Trophies carry over, and we're sure achievements are going to carry over. That's something that we know about. They say that PlayStation games will probably be available later. Basically, the only way to backwards play stuff should be through Gaikai.
Right.
So,
they were saying that eventually they want to have PS1, PS2, PS3, all PlayStation games available on the PS4.
Yeah, so
that's part of their whole PlayStation Anywhere initiative.
Yeah, which is something they talked about quite a bit. PlayStation Cloud will roll out last-gen games playable on smartphones, tablets, and Vitas as well.
Right.
So, that's something that we already kind of knew about. Here's a big one. Remote play for every single game that doesn't involve they didn't say that. I'm just assuming that the camera or like Kinect style games and stuff. But they want day one every game to be remote play, which we were talking about. And we'll talk more about this in the Wii version. But that's kind of a direct go at Wii.
It is.
And the only difference is PlayStation Vita hasn't sold very well. So how many people really have the Vita that are going to be able to do that?
Yeah, well, my guess is they're doing that to try and make more people want to go out and buy the Vita.
Yeah, and they probably will have a bundle, which we've talked about, which will probably be $5.99, maybe even $6.99, who knows. But
yeah.
Netflix and Amazon Instant Video Services will, of course, return, in addition to Crackle, Crunchyroll, Facebook, Vudu, NHL, MLB.TV, Cinema
Pretty
Now.
much you can guarantee any app that's already on there, it'll still be there.
And I like they didn't spend a lot of time on that, because that's expected now. Right. That's not something that you're like, oh, man, I got to go get a PlayStation 4 or Netflix.
Oh, Jay!
I mean, I can get Netflix on any device that I
got that Redbox Instant Video? Say, what?
Yeah, I mean, but the PlayStation Eye has been revamped. Almost looks identical to a Kinect now.
Yeah, it does.
And will identify players, be able to track their movements, as well as the controller, which we didn't talk about, has a light on it, which will be able to control the controller, or track the controller too. So, camera records in 60 frames per second, high frame rate. That is interesting.
Now, and speaking of backwards compatibility, current Move controllers will work with the PS4,
yes,
right?
Yeah. Current, but not the DualShock 3.
Right.
But yes, the Move controller will. So I guess that's a good thing if you've invested in Move. But, let's be real. How many people have really invested a whole lot in Move?
Yeah.
But this is a big one. The camera records in 60 frames per second, high frame rate. If you're not familiar with that, The Hobbit.
Now, have they gone into specs of the resolution of the camera?
Not to my knowledge, they haven't. No, they just said it will record in 60. They didn't spend a lot of time on the camera. They said they were going to talk more about that as E3 got closer. So,
right.
The only thing they really revealed about it is that it will track like Kinect and that it records in 60 frames per second, which was pretty impressive. But they didn't release any specs or resolution or anything. So, companion app, very very similar. You might as well call it PlayStation Smart Glass. That'll be coming out for all their devices. Comes with 3 to 4, not sure, because they were just going. They didn't announce this. This is something that they've been rumored. But 3 to 4 USB 3.0 ports. I'm guessing it will have at least 4.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Bluetooth 2.1 included. LED on DualShock displays info, along not just tracking, but will also display info such as health in a game. The LED light on the end of the controller.
Right.
Camera will be able to control. We already talked about that. Controller's touchpad. Talked about that. Console comes with a new PSI device that has 2 cameras built in.
That's the Kinect looking thing that we saw.
Camera has 4 channel microphones. We already knew that.
Yeah.
We'll have the ability to cut out players from the background, from in front or behind. I didn't quite understand what that meant.
That's pretty much what Kinect already does.
Okay. Controller can be charged with any normal smartphone charger for extra convenience. That's something that... The biggest problem I have with the DualShock, and as I love the fact that you can charge it without having to buy a plug-and-play or put batteries in it. Right. It's a pain in the ass because the controller they give you to charge... the cord they give you to charge the controller has no length to it. Oh. So if you want to play while it's plugged in, you have to sit so close, and I mean almost face-to-face with the TV. The cord's only that long.
And if you got a big TV, that's a problem.
And if you play a lot, you have to charge while you play.
Yeah.
And here was the biggest issue with PlayStation is it doesn't charge the controllers while the console is off.
Really?
Yes. So you have to turn the console on, plug in your controller to have it charged.
Huh.
Which is a major drawback for me. I've had issues with it in the past. I don't even discuss it.
All right.
But before I go into the games and stuff that'll be developed, let's talk about this a little bit. So the PlayStation 4, I guess, I thought that it was a good show. I thought they did a good job.
I usually don't like the press conferences Sony does, and even I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think they really came out. One of the things that we were talking about off the show that I thought that they needed to do, and they did well, is they didn't need to come out and be like, oh, this is why you need to buy Move. This is why Move works with it. They did a little bit. You know, they showed some tech demos and stuff, but for the most part, they aimed it at the gamer. And that's what they needed to do. And like we said, they didn't spend a lot of time saying, oh, you can play Netflix on our console. Who gives a crap?
I mean, I think the saddest part of the conference was Square Enix's showing. It was pretty lackluster. Awful. And the only trailer they showed was something we'd already seen. So.
And then they came out and said, oh, please watch, please look forward to E3. That's what they kept saying. Please look forward to it. And like, all right, since you asked nicely, I'll look forward to E3. But they said that there'll be a Final Fantasy game being announced. I don't think they've even worked on a Final Fantasy game yet. I think they just liked the console, and they were basically like, well, we plan on working. Because why wouldn't they at least release a title or a trailer we hadn't already seen?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's talk about Killzone Shadowfall and Infamous. Now, we were talking about, we all know the Infamous, in case you don't know about the infamous Killzone 2 situation, when they unveiled the Killzone 2, they basically...
They were showing off footage that looked like what Killzone Shadowfall looks like now. And the thing is, they were using next-generation tech to make it look like it was going to be this generation. Right. So people were skeptical. I mean, naturally they should be. Well, for those of you that were skeptical, Digital Foundry, who they kind of go back and look at stuff tech-wise, they did a very big analysis on it. And what they came up with is what they showed as Killzone isn't even to the highest capabilities of what their specs of their console should give. So that doesn't even, I mean, and let me tell you, it looked awesome. What'd you think? I mean, they did not look incredible. It looked great, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It also seemed like they're taking Killzone in a different direction because they were showing like the dude like walking around and the area was populated. It didn't even look like there was war going on around.
Killzone's never been colorful.
Yeah,
it's always been dark, and that was colorful, almost Mirror's Edge-ish.
Kind of like how Gears of War used to be in the first two Gears of Wars. It was known for having like a brown and bluish palette, maybe with some reds, but
with 3 they came out with all the yellow and
greens and stuff like that. So that's definitely, I mean, that's a good thing.
Well, Killzone 4, they say that as good as it looked, the PlayStation 4 and next generation console should be more capable than even that. And
that's how it is every generation. The
early games.
Yeah, the first games that come out, they really are only a little bit better than the previous generation, and then they slowly get better over time. And by the end of the generation, you've maxed out the consoles.
Well, I do have to say, though, that Killzone 4 looked a lot better in this generation, in my opinion. Maybe not to the capabilities, but, I mean, I'm comparing it to Killzone 3, of course.
Right.
But it just blew Killzone 3 out of the water.
Right.
So... But Infamous Second Son, which was another launch title they unveiled, they didn't show a lot of gameplay footage on that. They showed very little.
But that dude who came out and announced it, he was oh so serious about it. He was oh so serious about it.
Yeah, he did seem pretty serious about his Infamous. But, I mean, let's be real. No matter what Xbox or PlayStation come out with specs-wise, no matter what they come out with, they're going to have great launch titles with it to make people buy it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think PlayStation took a good step in the right direction with Killzone and Infamous, but they're going to have to do better than that.
they need a new IP other than Knack.
Yeah, Knack was one of the games they unveiled as a downloadable title that they showed the crossplay on that didn't look so... I mean, it looked okay.
It looked okay.
Yeah, it looked okay. I would say it looked like Explosion Man.
Type of deal, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it reminded me of.
But in 3D instead of, like, side-scrolling.
Yeah. So, what else did they...
The Witness was not excited about that.
No, it didn't look very good either. It's another downloadable title. Which is gonna... They made a big deal out of. It's going to be exclusive on PlayStation for 6 months. Like, who cares? The game didn't look that great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a puzzle game.
Well, you know, we'll undoubtedly know more about that later.
I'm sure it'll probably be better than Catherine, though.
Destiny. They announced Destiny is coming out on PlayStation.
Which we already pretty much knew.
Well, originally, during the Destiny rumors that came out, when we found out Bungie was doing that, remember it was supposed to be exclusive on Xbox for a year.
That's what they were talking about, because it had said something about that in the contract that Bungie had signed with Activision when they first signed.
Yeah, but apparently that's out the window now. So
yeah, well, I'm sure that they probably went to Microsoft and was like, look, what can we do to get out of this? And they probably promised Microsoft something else.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, that's another thing that leads. They said that PlayStation will get exclusive content. Now, I'm always weary about the exclusive content, because does that mean I'm going to get an Avatar helmet? Right. You know what I mean? Like, who knows what that's going to be? And I'm sure Xbox will have their own exclusive content as well. You know, because there's no way Bungie's just going to, you know, basically say...
You could definitely bet your ass, though, that the exclusive content is going to be on the next-gen systems, and I'll bet you the current-gen systems won't get that.
Yeah, that's probably true. Destiny looks awesome, doesn't it?
It does look really good.
It does. Let's go to Drive Club. Drive Club, this is interesting, because Evolution is known for the Moto Storm series.
Yeah.
They're making a full-fledged simulation racer that looks really incredible, but what about Polyphonic, or gosh,
the developers of Gran Turismo, right?
Polyphonic, Gran Turismo. They're probably sitting back like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What are y'all doing?
Well, I mean, it took them like 6 years to make the last Gran Turismo, and it wasn't that great.
Yeah, so I guess I can.
If I was Sony, I'd be going in a different direction too.
Seems like they are, and I don't know.
And even with that, the Drive Club it didn't drop my jaw or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think racers were already accustomed to looking great.
Yeah.
I mean, Forza looked phenomenal. You know, so I don't know that simulation racers is the best way to display a console's new capabilities.
Right.
I'm not so sure but of course you're going to have a racing game coming out, because everybody, there are racing fans out there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, let's talk about some of the cons that we saw.
The backwards compatibility issue.
Backwards compatibility.
With the PSN.
That was the big one that I thought that kind of pissed me off.
And that was really the only con, that I saw, other than the fact that they didn't show the console.
We should note that it does play used games.
Right, yes.
Thank the Lord.
Thank the Lord.
Thank the Lord, because I wouldn't have bought it if it didn't.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't have. I would have said screw it. The specs for the system, while
those were good.
Don't have them on hand, and I'm not a big computer chip type guy. I don't know a whole lot about them, but from everything I've read, it's a powerhouse. So.
Well, I mean, it is.
Yeah. So.
I mean, they're pretty much running the equivalent of an i7 processor, and with 8 gigs of memory, and the GPU is like the equivalent of like a GeForce 680 or something.
That's another thing. They were supposed to have 2 dedicated GPUs or CPUs in there, so that you can actually run 2 or 3 or multiple things at one time, and it doesn't use all the console's power if you're only doing things that don't require it or something like that. Like I said, I'm not a big chip type guy, but they say it was a powerhouse. I mean, they really did. They said it blew Wii U out the water. Well,
it wouldn't have taken much to do that. Wii U's barely on par with the 360 and the PS3.
Yeah, very true, very true. So, all right. Well, what we can expect, I guess.
We can expect that it'll probably be expensive, but not too expensive, because they learned their lesson with that. I think.
I'm guessing $399.
Yeah.
I think that's what they need to be at. They're also not going... They're going to have their free service like they always did, but they're going to go an Xbox route now, where there's going to be a silver, gold, and platinum.
Right.
The platinum will come with PlayStation Plus and Gaikai service, supposedly. The gold will come with everything else besides those two, and then the silver will probably just allow you to do the basic stuff.
Yeah.
So, thought that was kind of interesting. What can we expect going... I expect they'll announce more games.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. That's probably what they're saving for E3.
Yeah.
As well as showing the console itself.
Yeah, and just while we're on that, I can go through kind of what we expect from the games real quick. I got a small list here. Deep Down. Oh, we didn't talk about that. Capcom's game that they showed. Deep Down. It looked very Dark Souls-like.
It did, yeah.
That's Capcom. Destiny, of course. Diablo 3.
Yep.
Blizzard for the first time came out and said Diablo will be out on consoles. We aren't doing it.
That's good. That's good news.
Yeah, and they say PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, which I'm assuming also means Xbox 360 and next Xbox. So
right, well, because they didn't say the word exclusive anywhere in there.
Yeah, so. No, they didn't. So, Punch, Sucker Punch is doing a Infamous Second Son.
Right.
We know that The Witness is from Thekla, whatever. Oh, Watch Dogs! How insane!
The demo looked great.
Golly! Dude, I don't know. This might be the greatest game that's ever graced Earth when this game comes out.
I hope it is.
I mean, dude, every time I see it, it just blows me away.
It looks awesome.
It just blows me away.
And the good news is for people who don't plan on adopting the new consoles right away, it will be on current gen consoles.
It will.
Which we have been speculating about for a while.
Yeah, so that's good for those people. But I'll be playing it on a PS4, Xbox 3 or 720, and I'll be getting dirty on it.
Definitely. So, PlayStation 4, that's pretty much what we know.
Yeah, I got a couple more games here that I was going to go over, and that's it. Next generation Call of Duty we already know about.
Right.
Bethesda is working on a PlayStation 4, they didn't say, a PlayStation 4 and next gen title. Fallout 4?
I hope
so too. Naughty Dog is deep into development of a PlayStation 4 title, Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Definitely.
Ready at Dawn is making a AAA exclusive for PlayStation. If people don't know who they are, they make the God of War PSP games. So
right.
Next gen Sonic game. Sega is deep in development of a next gen full-fledged new Sonic experience. I know that makes you happy.
Sonic's been doing good things recently.
I know that makes you happy. Biggest Sonic fan I know. Battlefield 4.
Because it is what it is.
Yeah, we knew that. Medieval RPG being developed using CryEngine 3 by Warhorse Studios. Singularity is being developed by Quantic Dream. I know you like Singularity.
Yeah, Singularity was a good game.
And we all know that they announced...
But the Singularity you're talking about is a totally separate game by a totally separate
studio. It is?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not...
It just happens to have the same name.
Oh, okay. Star Wars 1313 is the last one. That game looked awesome at E3.
Yeah, that game we saw at E3.
So yeah, that's pretty much the list. And they say every studio that Sony has is making a PlayStation 4 game. So,
okay, and then so real quick, we were recently talking about the Wii U and how horrible it's been doing. So, and why has it been doing so horrible? Well, one, they just didn't jump far enough ahead with the tech and the system itself.
Well, what to me is so frustrating about Nintendo is they released their console at the worst time possible.
And they didn't launch it with any good exclusives.
No.
Other than Mario.
And, what is it?
Zelda should have been there day one if they wanted it to sell.
I just don't understand it because if they were going to release... I understand them wanting to get the jump on PS4 and Xbox.
Right.
Well, then make your console worthy of it.
Yeah.
They basically are just late to this current generation's party because it's essentially a current generation console.
It is
that they're making it look like it's next gen.
It's a current gen console with tablet controllers. What can you say?
I fear for Nintendo. We were talking about this. I fear that they're going to become the next Sega.
And then I saw on IGN Joystick where Cliff Bleszinski was saying pretty much the same thing recently, where he thinks Nintendo is eventually just going to become a third-party publisher.
I'm all for it.
Me too.
Bring Zelda out on Xbox and bring Zelda out on PlayStation. I'm for it.
Mario.
Bring Mario, Star Fox.
Donkey Kong.
I mean, that's one thing they do. They have some great first-party development.
Super Monkey Ball.
Well, I don't care about no Super Monkey Ball. I play it on my phone sometimes.
It was a fun game, man.
Yeah, so... Mario Kart?
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get it.
Mario Kart.
Yeah, baby.
Super Smash Brothers?
Hell yeah.
That would be great.
Well, remember when they announced Wii U? They came out and said, Well, there's going to be a Super Smash Brothers, and it's coming out soon.
Yeah.
And the guy who makes Super Smash Brothers didn't even know about it.
He didn't even know about it.
He was like, "Oh, I guess I'm going to be making a Super Smash Brothers here soon." Like, okay, like, oh man.
All right, so before jumping the gun and getting excited about our selfishness, wanting Nintendo to be a third-party publisher, what can Nintendo do to save themselves? What can they do to make a comeback? Well, number one would be a price drop.
A significant price drop. They need to make it to where that's the cheap option.
Yeah.
When I say significant, I mean $149.99.
Yeah. And then not only is it a cheap option, but it'll be pretty much a no-brainer for parents with kids.
Exactly. That don't want to spend $400 on a new powerhouse of a console.
And Nintendo isn't exactly known for having mature games on their consoles, which parents don't really want for younger kids anyway.
What they've essentially done, it seems like, is they basically are trying to get all the people that bought Wii to get a Wii U. They're aiming at that base, but they're not going to get it. Because we discussed
that base
this.
already has a Wii.
That base has a Wii, and that base doesn't care about your next-gen console. They want to play bowling with their friends and family when they come over, and they can do that still on this Wii.
On the current Wii.
So... I really do. I fear for Nintendo. I just don't see them getting I think they've made some major console mistakes. I mean, and I'm not saying the Wii U isn't cool before we get hate mail and all this. The Wii U is good for what it is.
Yeah.
It's good for this generation.
Yeah.
But after what Sony unveiled and what Xbox is going to unveil, it's not even going to be relevant.
They need to come out with a killer Zelda game and bundle it with the console.
That would be a good start.
Yeah.
That'd be a good start. So,
boom. So Wii U, not too much you can say about them.
No, not really.
Best of luck to them.
Let's say Sony comes out and they do bundle a Vita with their system and it's a reasonable price. Yeah. They're going to start dipping into the Wii U market too, because they're going to say, people are going to say, oh, well, should I get a Wii U for $100 cheaper? Or $150 cheaper? Or should I get a PlayStation 4 with the Vita where I can do the same thing and I can take my Vita wherever I want?
Right.
Can't take your tablet controller on a plane and play games.
Yeah.
So, or can you? I don't know. I doubt it, because then they'd be dipping into their own 3DS market.
That's for sure.
So, anyway.
All right, so moving on. Real quick, wanted to go through the Xbox 720 a little bit, and we can talk more about that on this weekend show. So, what do we expect? Obviously, more Halo, more Gears, more Forza, more Fable. But beyond that, Black Tusk, Microsoft's new studio that's supposed to be making the next big thing, the next big AAA game that's supposed to be as big as Halo. Word is it'll be some sort of shooter. We don't know what kind yet, or even what the lore or any of that. But that's supposed to be big things. Rumors flying around about Alan Wake 2 possibly being a launch title, if not coming out very soon after the launch.
Yeah, I would definitely expect to see an Alan Wake.
Rumors about the next Fable being an MMO, which is crazy.
Well, what do you think? I mean, what do you think Xbox's direction of their press conference is going to be after seeing Sony's? I have my ideas. I mean, what do you think?
I think they're going to be somewhere in the middle between Sony and Nintendo. I think that Microsoft wants it all. They're going to be aiming at all audiences.
And that's what I kind of figured, because Sony, one thing they couldn't do in their press conference is come out and be like, show a bunch of Move titles and stuff like that.
Show a new Wonder Book. Yeah.
I mean, because they've lost the casual market to Xbox. The day Kinect came out, they lost it.
Yeah. I
mean, Kinect's been very successful. PlayStation Move hasn't. And I like how they went and directed it to the gamers. I expect Xbox will do a little bit of both. I think they'll aim towards the gamers, and I think they'll go to the casual market. And I think they'll say, oh, well, we're the whole entertainment option, kids games, hardcore games, and entertainment. I think that's the kind of where they'll go. So, hopefully they'll let Rare off the leash for this next one.
Yeah, and I've been tweeting Rare, I've been tweeting Major Nelson, I've been tweeting everybody, telling them, tell Microsoft to let Rare off the leash. We need Killer Instinct, we need Conquer.
Killer Instinct would be awesome.
We need Perfect Dark, we need a new Blast Corps, we need...
I think that...
I'd take a new Viva Pinata.
I think we'll get a Kinect Sports 3.
Well, that's already rumored to be in development, which is kind of sad for me. I mean, I'm sure they'll do a good job on it. Rare always does a good job on their games. But, I mean, come on. At least let them make another Banjo-Kazooie. I mean...
I have a feeling we're never going to see another big-time Rare game again.
I hope you're so wrong about that. All right, so what we'd like to see, obviously, would be more exclusives, more games, us being gamers. What do we not want to see?
I want to be able to play used titles.
We want to be able to play used games. We want at least the arcade games to be backwards compatible.
Absolutely. And I also would like to see...
I don't want the controller to change very much. I like it a lot like it is. I mean, I understand it's probably going to have to go through a little bit of a change, but I hope it's not a big drastic change to where they fuck the thing up.
I like the controller the way it is, too. One thing that I'd like to see them do is just flop the D-pad and the joystick. Other than that, I think keep the exact same design. I like the Xbox's design.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I'm guessing there'll be some kind of a screen on the controller or a touchpad or something.
Right.
Because now you've got two companies doing that. I think Xbox won't want to be the one left out. So you'll see a screen on there.
For sure.
Even if it's not a big tablet controller like Wii U, you'll see some sort of a screen or touchpad or something. So Kinect 2.0, we know
that's a good,
it's going to be able to supposedly track minute movements like facial expressions and fingers.
Fingers, yeah.
So
it's all going to be good things. And hopefully the new Kinect camera is a much higher resolution, which it's rumored to be.
Will it be built into the system?
I doubt it. Because some people want to put their shit, down below the TV in a cabinet somewhere.
What I read about
some people want to put it on a bookshelf, So
what I've read though is that it's no longer going to move. They say that the lens is so wide.
Yeah, so wide
that it can see a 6 foot tall person.
Panoramic now.
Yeah, it can see a 6 foot tall person from like 3 or 4 feet away. Somewhere.
Which is good things because people who haven't bought the Kinect, that was the big thing holding them back was they just didn't have the space for it.
They do need to make it to where it can be tracked much closer.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't have the space for Kinect.
And there is, a little bit of lag in the input. I hope that they've fixed that as well.
That is something that is going to be fixed, from what I've heard, because they want it to be able to have gestures tracked much quicker, much quicker.
Yeah, and they need to be. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it, and we'll talk about Xbox more this weekend on the regular show. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the special Next Gen Talk episode, and we will catch y'all later on this weekend to early next week.
Baby.
Frag Attack Radio.